How's it going, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and a problem with Android, historically at least, has been battery life. It's never really been the best in the world in comparison to iOS, some of the Windows Phone offerings, and some smartphones of the past. Well, two devices are looking to change that by packing huge batteries in their respective devices. The Samsung Galaxy Note is one of those, and it's available now on AT&T for $299.99 with a 2-year agreement. Now, this thing has a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon processor. It's got a big 5.3-inch Super AMOLED HD display, but it's packing a 2,500 milliamp hour battery, so bigger battery for Android, but it's going up against a big display. Can it make it? That's the question. Then we have the Motorola DROID RAZR MAXX over here with a huge 3,300 milliamp hour battery in the back that's non-removable, along with a 4.3-inch display, a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core TI OMAP processor, and Android 2.3. So huge battery over here in a thin form factor, pretty big battery over here in a thin form factor, but a pretty big device all around. Which one offers the best combination of features and, most importantly, battery life? We're going to find out in the dogfight. But first, some love to Best Buy Mobile, because they hook us up with phones like this for use in our One Paw Bandit game, which we turn around and give to you in the contest. So when you walk into Best Buy Mobile to get either of these devices, you'll walk out working. They'll help you set up your email, your web, your battery management settings, so when you walk out the door, you're getting the best possible experience at Best Buy Mobile. Let's take a look. Galaxy Note, DROID RAZR MAXX. So in part 2 of this video, you got two devices here that are great in the battery life department, or at least are better in the battery life department than their other Android counterparts. But you got two very distinctly different devices here that I think are going to appeal to two different types of people. Obviously, if you want media content, it's all about YouTube for you. It's all about browsing the web, maybe sending and receiving a lot of emails where you really need screen real estate. The Galaxy Note's going to make a great option. Plus, it has the S Pen, which we'll talk about a little bit more later in this video. Then you have this one over here, more of a typical phone format, 4.3-inch display with a big battery as well. So if you're looking for something that perhaps is more pocketable with a smaller display that the battery's going to last a little bit longer with, all things kept equal, the DROID RAZR MAXX is going to be a fantastic device for you. But let's take a look and jump in to some tests here. And let's do quadrants. Actually, let's do speed test first, because both of these are 4G LTE devices. Obviously, this one on AT&T and this one on Verizon. So we'll take a look and see how they compare. It's in the middle of uptown Charlotte right now, 3:30 p.m. So just before rush hour, we're going to load up Chester actually on both of these devices, I think. Let's do Chester to make it fair, and then we'll begin the test and see which one comes out on top. So it's AT&T's LTE versus Verizon's LTE. Let's take a look, and you can see AT&T's is running up about a little bit slow. It's almost an HSPA plus category here, but then the DROID RAZR MAXX hasn't started yet. So we'll take a look and see what both come out to. So that's 7.5 megabits per second on the download over here. Not sure what's taking so long over here. 7.67 megabits per second on the upload. About 3 megabits per second. I'm telling you, wireless connectivity is so weird in Charlotte. I don't know why it's doing this, what's going on, but it is a little bit weird just from time to time. Some of it can be rush hour, but again, both LTE devices. Ping is taking a long time on this one. So you can see 7.6 megabits per second, almost 7.7 megabits per second over here, and 3 on the upload. And then over here, still pinging. Let's take a look here at the download. Let's see if it can catch up. We'll see what it does. 7,000, that's pretty terrible ping. I'm not sure why it's taking so long over here. But 70 milliseconds, 7,230, a little bit different. And there it decides to kick in. So I'm not sure what's going on over here. A little bit of an issue perhaps with the LTE network in uptown Charlotte. Not sure, again, literally center city right now. So these, this is the best indicative or best indication you're going to get of what speed's like, at least in the Charlotte area, on both of these carriers. So 2 megabits per second on the download, terrible. And then 0.3 megabits per second on the upload, which is also terrible for Verizon's LTE. I've seen speeds. Verizon quotes speeds between 5 and 12 megabits per second over here in the DROID RAZR MAXX, and 2 to 5 megabits per second on the upload. So obviously that's well below what their specs are. Perhaps it's just a network congestion issue. But in this individual test, AT&T's LTE comes out on top. Let's load up Quadrant Standard as well. And just so you know, Quadrant Standard has been updated. If you follow my videos, it's been updated to allow for dual-core processors and more. So you're going to see a little bit of a change to how it looks. Now let's talk a little bit about reception and overall voice quality on these devices. When it comes to voice and voice alone, the DROID RAZR MAXX is the winner. The earpiece is nice and loud. The wireless radio is fantastic over here. And all things aside with their respective networks, the earpiece is nice and loud. I can retain a signal better on the DROID RAZR MAXX than I can on the Galaxy Note. Now, that's not bad over here by any means. I did notice a little bit of an interesting thing on the Note. I'm in there's an area in my parking deck when I come into work that is historically a dead spot for AT&T. And so, when I get to like the 7th or 6th floor on the parking deck, every call cuts out all the time. either cuts out or totally disconnects. Well, the call started cutting out, and I looked down to see what I had in terms of signal strength bars, and I was sitting at about 3 bars of service. So I've noticed that very rarely does this device drop below 3 bars of service unless it's just such a terrible area that it can't pull anything in. So I've seen it, I think, once or twice drop below 3 bars of service, but I find it sticks there quite a bit. My home, which is not the best service area for AT&T, it sits at 3 bars of service. I think that's kind of like the base level for whatever reason with this respective device. And the DROID RAZR MAXX, again, does very well in the voice department, but earpiece quality about equal on both of these devices. Battery life is the real thing here. 2,500 milliamp hour battery, 3,300. The battery winner is clearly the DROID RAZR. I cannot kill this device to save my life. I put it through a full day of heavy use, and at the end of the day, I'm sitting at 50, 40, 30% depending on how hard I work this device. So I'm talking with like extremely heavy use, 300 to 400 emails, send and receive, a bunch of text messages, a bunch of calls, 2 to 3 hours of calls a day. I'm just incredibly impressed with how this device holds up in the battery life department. So again, if battery is very much a concern to you, the DROID RAZR MAXX, it's still good over here. This one's better than most Android devices I've tested. It's still very respectable, and I can usually make it through a full day with the Galaxy Note unless it's just heavy use with Bluetooth calling, with LTE rolling in the background, with a bunch of data use, with a bunch of calling. I noticed last night I was on the phone a lot for whatever reason yesterday, doing some calls and such. And I did make it until about 9:30 after pulling it off the charger at 7 in the morning. It made it to about 9:30 or 10 before the device powered down. So yeah, it's not going to beat the DROID RAZR MAXX, but it is better than most Android devices that are packing like 1,600 milliamp hour batteries. So 2,658 over here. 2658 on the Galaxy Note, 2322 over on the Motorola DROID RAZR. So the Galaxy Note wins in the quadrant standard test. Now, one other thing I want to show you is the music player. I'm going to come in here. You got to promise not to make fun of my music. I'll start up. Actually, I'm going to pull it away so you can see something different, because you'll definitely make fun of my music. Let's do, hey, Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie's where the party's at. So we're going to show you. I'm going to show you what the music interface looks like here, so you can see and just give you a rough idea. I don't think it goes into it does go into landscape mode. And so you've got a nice big screen with an ability to control your music, and then when you come out of it, I can come back in here and take a look, and you can see the controls are up in the notification bar, and I can easily click music and re-access. Now I use double twist to bring over my music from iTunes. That's an option. Of course, Google Music is also an option on both of these devices. Google Music's pre-installed on this device. I believe it came on this one out of the box too, if I remember right. But you can see, easy to see the title, easy to see album art, and more that I can easily turn the volume up and down. And then I have my 5.1 channel surround sound and my shortcuts down here, and of course the list of music here. So I've got a couple of different things. You can make fun of me all you want to in the comments, but it is a pretty good music player overall. I use double twist, and in comparison to somebody, I'm a big iOS user when it comes to music, just because I use iTunes for everything. And so there's an added step of using double twist or Google Music or whatever your music choice is, but you still have some options in the Android market with double twist, with AirSync, with Google Music, and more. So if perhaps you're coming from iOS on either of these devices and you're like, I'm not quite sure the best music option, take a look at double twist, take a look at Google Music, and some of the other stuff that's pre-installed, MOG Music and more. I think you can find some great alternatives for use on Android. So that's not, just because iOS, I think, still has a better ecosystem when it comes to music, particularly if you use iTunes. There's still some great workarounds on Android devices. Again, AirSync, which is part of double twist, and Google Music and more. So you've got that feature as well. Let's take a brief look at contacts. And actually, I'm going to pull this away. Sorry to keep pulling this away, but this is, again, I've been using this as my personal device, and so I have to get it out of the way here so you can see. Let's save this contact to phone. I just want to show you what the contact interface looks like on both of these devices so you can get an idea as to how it looks. In my opinion, TouchWiz 4.0 is much more polished than Motorola's user interface. So they've made some significant strides here in terms of the blue color scheme, and it just looks a little bit more clean than it did before, but still a long way to go in comparison to like a TouchWiz 4, perhaps an HTC Sense version 3.5. So you've got the similar interface here. You can see picture contact. You can create a shortcut there. You can do first and last name, phone number. You can do an internet call, email, IM over here, groups and ringtones and more. Postal address. You can add quite a bit to the actual to the address book here. So you've got a lot of different options. And I'm going to pull one up on the DROID RAZR MAXX so you can take a look at, let's just do technical support, for example. If I had a picture shortcut for technical support, I could see it there and easily access their information by clicking on the picture. I have favorites, contact history, so if I had text messaged or called contact or technical support back and forth, we'd have a contact history there, a mobile number, along with calling and messaging, and of course a website as well. So it's very fluid, very clean. Now I will say I like the overall functionality of TouchWiz 4.0 a little bit more in the contact and just personal information management arena. Let's take a look at S Pen as well over on this. And S Memo actually comes with a couple of different applications. S Memo is one. It comes with a game as well. It's some crayon game. Let me see. I gotta find it. Crayon Physics, which I, for the life of me, can't figure out how to play this game. I've tried for a couple of days and just fail every single time. Like I am clearly not my game. But the S Pen is a capacitive stylus, if you will. Don't let them hear you call it a stylus, but it's basically using its Wacom's technology. So very good in a lot of ways. In the graphics department, it's going to be good for taking notes or for drawing quick pictures, doing things like that. And it's funny because in my 30-day challenge with this phone, I've found myself using the S Pen quite a bit in comparison. Unfortunately, there's no input technology over here like this. You obviously get the keyboard and things like that, but you don't get an actual drawing technology. And so I'm going to load up S Memo here and take a look so you can see. And we'll do a quick picture test and a typing test as well. So we're going to go in here and go into S Memo, and we'll load it up like this. You have the ability to do text, you can type it out, or you can do drawing itself, and you have a world of options in terms of colors and more. So you can change the color. Let's go to dark green. I can change the way it looks. I can either make it bold or really thin. I can do paintbrush, etc. So I can go out here and let's see. I can do hey there. Give it more of a paintbrush look and feel. I can come in here and give it a pen look and feel if I'm perhaps taking notes, and I can make it really thin. Now the downside is, still it's got a nice 5.3 inch display, but it's a little bit hard to take notes on because if you type or talk, not talk, but if you type like I do with notes or write like I do, the info is here, for example. So you can make it out. It's pretty clear, and it's definitely in terms of input technology far advanced in comparison to some of the other things in the market, but still it's using up a lot of the display. You can't really write as small as you usually would. I find myself writing pretty small. The quick, if I can spell, quick, brown. And you can see it's really not equipped to do it that small. So if you want to write and make it legible, it's got to be about that size. And by the time you get to that size, a few notes is going to take up the full screen. You're going to have to go to another note. So it's a minor little setback. It's going to be decent for note taking, maybe for quick. I found myself use it really quickly for like bills and stuff. If I'm like, pay Duke Energy, pay the Sprint bill, pay the Verizon bill, pay the AT&T bill, because I do have accounts with all those different carriers, but pay the T-Mobile bill, etc. I'll write it in there really quickly and just hit save as a quick to-do kind of memo, but otherwise really not effective for taking too many notes. You're going to use like 18 S memos in comparison to perhaps one on a normal notepad, using one page in a normal notepad. What I will say though is those are the kind of drawings I do on a regular basis, so you can clearly see that my artistic skills are up to par. So it's fun to use. You can draw and send stuff to your friends. You can crop stuff. I found myself cropping pictures of airplanes, like I'm flying out on Friday to Barcelona, cropping a picture of a plane that I'm flying on, sending it to a friend or to a family member saying, hey, this is the 747-400. That's pretty fun. That's unique, and I can draw around it and on it and have some fun with it. So you don't get that over here. What you do get, again, 7 home screens. I do like the widget interface over here, and I didn't mean to turn that off. Actually, I wanted you to see the lock screen anyway. So you got the weather ability, you got the clock, and I can simply slide to unlock that. Then over here, slide to unlock, and more. And I've got 7 home screens over on this bad boy as well. Customized widgets on both of these devices. You're going to see the widget interface look a little bit different on both. More of a traditional Android interface here, more of a Samsung interface over here, and you can see this goes in line with the Galaxy S2 and some of the other stuff we've seen with TouchWiz version 4.0. So it's a tough call. It really depends on what you want out of your device. If you're looking for, like, you're a road warrior, you make a lot of conference calls, and it's really all about battery to you, the DROID RAZR MAXX is going to be where it's at. It's still got a nice big display. It's easy to use. It's very responsive. Speeds are good. If you're looking for something, you're a YouTube fanatic, you love watching phone dog videos, you love doing things like that, getting on Facebook, browsing the web, and you want the biggest possible screen with that S Memo fun, the Galaxy Note is going to be the device for you. So obviously one has to be declared a winner in the dogfight, and based on all of the specs and all of the features that these devices have, the Galaxy Note takes the cake in the dogfight. This is the winner of the dogfight, though I will say battery life is noticeably better on the DROID RAZR MAXX. So if you want to answer the question that I asked in the beginning of the video, the DROID RAZR MAXX is better in the battery life department. If you're looking for an all-around dogfight winner with the specs, with S Pen, with a big display that's HD, with a pretty decent battery, with 4G LTE connectivity, with some different color choices, and more, the Galaxy Note is going to be your device. Much more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com with the Galaxy Note and the DROID RAZR MAXX as we continue to kind of pit these devices together, because we're in a world of Android. It's 2012 and a bunch of Android devices have already come out, and so to make it easier on you, we do dogfights like this to kind of see which features are the best, which ones you want, which ones you don't want, and that's part of the fun that we do here in Phone Dog Land. Thanks so much for watching. Keep it locked on Facebook. Let us know what you think. Facebook.com/PhoneDog. Follow me on Twitter as well, PhoneDog_Aaron, and on Facebook at my personal page, Facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, we'll see you next time.